What's going on, everybody? We are back again for another video. This is another week of my tarot readings. We're coming in at about 3 times a week, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This is the Monday reading. If you are tuning in on Monday, that's great. If you are tuning in a bit later in the week, that's also fine. Might as well get a full rounded perspective for the week, starting beginning, middle, end. If you're coming in weeks, months, maybe years later, then that's fine too. Maybe you can still learn something from this message. Yeah, not a whole lot to preface this video with. Let me know if you guys had any thoughts on previous readings, just kind of like how you're coming into this week, any particularly energies you feel the need to address, or if not, like I always say in my videos, comment down below just kind of what you thought about this reading, or if you have any specific thoughts about kind of the energies going in. For those of you who don't know, we usually stick to kind of a 3-card reading, beginning, middle, and end. Sometimes I kind of deviate from that, but it's not my norm, but I like to do it sometimes just to kind of mix things up. That being said, let's get into the reading. No use putting it off for too long. Alright, card number 1. Let's start with this one. Temperance. Alright, so the Temperance card has to do with basically our ability to control ourselves. It's essentially a form of self-control and our willingness. Temperance is kind of seen as the opposite to the, like, quote-unquote, Abrahamic conception of the sin of gluttony. Temperance is kind of seen as the counterbalance, the virtue to that, the ability to restrain yourself, to kind of stop yourself from going a little too far, being able to indulge in the things that you want to indulge without taking it to a totally destructive path you're going down. So it's like being able to go to a casino without spending all of your child's college money on it. It's that kind of energy. So that's the energy starting, not only going into this reading, but just this week. Maybe that energy coming off of Sunday and going into Monday, maybe even Tuesday, just kind of like where we're at. That's normally how these readings kind of function. The first card has to do with like the energy of where we're going at. Second card will be kind of where we are now, and maybe like a little bit of our advice card, our choice card, where we go. And then the third card has to do with the outcome of the choices we make for that part of the week. So this is kind of where we're going in. Just make sure, I'm seeing this as pretty like light advice. It's not too, I don't see it as too foreboding. I think it's just kind of this call to maybe you went a little too hard this weekend. That could definitely be a message for someone if you find yourself out drinking a lot, consuming a lot, maybe even overeating. I know this week I definitely ate a lot of just kind of like, I don't even want to call it bad food, because I don't really see there as being too much of a thing as like good or bad food. Again, it all has to do with this moderation, temperance. But I definitely get into this point where I'm eating a lot and I eat too much, and then the next day I wake up feeling just kind of like, ugh. And I know this morning I just kind of woke up feeling a little bit, just not as good as I would want to feel waking up. So I think this is just kind of a reminder to reel it back in. Just a gentle reminder. I'm not getting a lot of like really intense energy from this, but maybe just kind of a gentle reminder to reel ourselves back in going into the week. And that's never a bad thing to address. You can overdo it. It's definitely not begging you to go into austerity or just basic deprivation, because that's also a bad thing. Temperance has it's both sides. You can't like see she has the 2 cups here, and they're more or less kind of equal in height. It's not I don't know. It's not one's up here and the other one's being tossed on the ground. You don't want to completely deprive yourself, because that's not really a way to live either. Okay, that's a pretty moderate energy going into this week. That's not too bad. What is the second card? Okay, 10 of Pentacles. I feel like we've been getting a lot of very like Pentacalian energy. I don't know. That's what I'm going to call it, Pentacalian energy. Moving throughout these readings lately, which makes sense for the time of year that we're in. We're in spring, we're in earth, we're planting. I know I recently just kind of planted the seeds for my garden this year, and I'm already starting to see sprouts just a few days later. So we're definitely dealing with the consequences of action. So we had moving we've been set in place for a while. This has to do not only with your basic finances but kind of community and like structural support, because here you see like it's not just somebody alone, they're with like their family, they're with these like lifelong bonds. So that might be something that comes up kind of early in this week, just if it's not outright just some kind of like good news, some good fortunate news, maybe something's been like weighing on your mind and you're worried it's going to kind of like mess with the structure of like how your life is going right now. Just know that this is kind of the energy is on your side for either more good news coming in or just reaffirming the foundation of stability. But keep that in mind. Just if you are forced with making a decision, this could be this is kind of the ideal you want to be striving for right now. Connection to not necessarily blood family, but just kind of like your community resources or analyzing the resources you have in the communities you've built, because you want to make sure that that's in line with what you want, because sometimes it's not, and we have to readdress and reevaluate from there. So figure out what this means to you and how can you move forward from there. How can you align your life to make that your ideal, because that's ultimately not to say you have to be striving for it, but I think for the most part, like a basic human condition has to do with wanting this kind of structural support around you in the form of community and also like financial wellness, regardless throughout the ages what like financial wellness means, or like resource abundance. I think that's kind of a basic. Most people aren't out here looking to destabilize their own life for no reason. All right, so that's kind of the that's where we're going. That's what might present itself early in the week, but that's not again. We're not getting very. I'm not getting very like harsh energies coming off of any of this. Just kind of gentle reminders going in as we're coming into the weekend. This might be just kind of like a little bit of a reset going forward with this week based off of how wild you were this weekend or not. But yeah, I'm getting the feeling some of you might have gone a little hard this week. We're coming out of winter and we're going into spring, so maybe some of us are getting a little bit of weather, the willingness to go out and interact with our environment, and maybe we've been cooped up for a little too long, and now we're looking for an excuse to kind of go wild, which, like, you know what, that's fine. That's there's a time and a place, right? All right. So then what's kind of our moving forward, what to look forward going into this week, and like as we're moving more towards the middle of the week, and how can we kind of take what we've seen so far with this advice and how can we take that and move forward. And that is this card. This is the Eight of Pentacles. I had to double check real quick because I was like, that's not, I couldn't really read the numerals from there. And it was just kind of like mind cloud for a second. I was like, I couldn't see the numerals. Yeah, that's the Eight of Pentacles. So a lot of times what this card has to do with is some people will call it kind of the testing your mettle. This is a precursor to the Ten of Pentacles. We have this and then the Nine, which has to do with the luxuries, the amassing of that, and then the 10 kind of adds this community value to this. So moving forward, again, as like I had said about reminding yourself to be striding towards the Ten of Pentacles, this is kind of the perfect reminder to that. So I'm hoping this has to do with taking that message to heart and really putting forward some basic action into that, like maybe write down a list of things you can do, just basic actions you can take. Again, this could be seen as just like it's just kind of the basic groundwork. Like when you see this picture, you don't think of all the you don't think of you think of it as just kind of inherently there. You don't stop to think like, oh, who carved the pentacles into these coins? Well, it's this guy. It's all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. So this is kind of that behind the scene work. So I think it's basically calling you to just relax, get a clear head, maybe meditate, clear your mind a little bit, and just begin that basic kind of like list work, the menial labor, things that you know need to get done but maybe haven't gotten done, maybe you haven't done your taxes yet. It's just these kind of things that you know you need to get done, but you're stalling for some reason, which everybody has something they could be doing. And I think the mindset going in that's going to be really helpful for you is this kind of like visualization of It's not always enough to, like, it's not always enough motivation to do something because it quote unquote needs to be done. Sometimes you need to really be like visualizing that feeling of what it's going to feel like to get it done, and then do it for that. Like, you're not doing your taxes just because, oh, I need to do my taxes, which, like, yes, we know is a good enough reason to do it, but for whatever reason we're still stalling. And this is kind of urging us, like, oh, look back to that, like, what's it going to feel like when you have those done, and how are you going to feel, because it's something you have to get done eventually, but how is it going to feel knowing that it's already been done and you don't have to mess with it anymore? I think that's really the message of this card. Just getting down, doing some work. I'm getting a lot of like kind of calmer energy from this week as opposed to weeks past, so I'm hoping it's creating this space for you to feel comfortable enough to get some of this work done. It's hard to just sit down and do this stuff when like your life is falling apart and the energies are changing and you're just not sure what's going on. This is hopefully the waters are a little bit calm, and then that way it's easy for you to get out there and get some of the stuff done. Like I mentioned earlier about like maybe going a little too hard because like, oh yeah, things are calming down, the weather's nice, life's going well, so like now I have time to party. Hopefully we got that out of our system a little bit, or if it's still in your system, you're getting it out of the way now, and then hopefully as we move later into the week, we can just kind of sit down, chill, maybe go to a coffee shop, order yourself a nice beverage, and just get some of that work done, knock it out of the park. But yeah, I will. I look forward to hearing what you guys think about that, and just kind of maybe let me know the stuff that you were hoping to get done or the stuff that you already did get done. I'm hoping this can be a pretty productive like beginning mid to the week for us, just as we're getting started here. But yeah, that's it for this reading. It was a pretty simple reading, but I think we have some good material here where the foundations are good for us to just kind of get some work done. Maybe we're not expecting these kind of like life-changing revelations, but that's fine. I mean, you can't, every week can't be this like life-changing revelation, or it would be exhausting. You have to have the weeks where I know for me personally, to like get stuff done, I can't be like traveling or doing all this stuff or like getting new work equipment and like messing with all these new things. I need many weeks in which things are stable enough that I can just get the work done. So that way, later on, I have the foundation to move forward. So I think that's what this, at least the very beginning of this week, is going to act for us. And I'm really excited to get some of my own stuff done and hear what you guys get done. So yeah, thank you so much for joining my Monday reading. I will see you on Wednesday, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good one.